We're not told. Basically, we have to operate on rumors. So rumor has it that there's 700 Marines that are going to come here. I have no idea what they would do when they would get here.
Confusion and chaos in downtown Los Angeles for a fourth night in a row. The actions ordered by that city's mayor to restore order following immigration raids. We'll take you there live.
If some of us could be snatched off the streets without a warrant, based only on suspicion or skin color, then none of us are safe.
Governor Gavin Newsom calls on Americans to stand up to President Trump's policies. Why he says California could be just the start of what he calls the president's assault on democracy.
So whether I got to stand 10 toes by myself solo, that's what I'm going to do, you know what I mean, especially for my belief.
A counter-protester stands up for President Trump at an anti-ICE rally in downtown Fresno and is welcomed with yelling and punches. What Fresno police are now saying about this case. Fox 26 News at 10 starts now. Good evening, I'm Monty Torres.
And I'm Liz Gonzalez. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We begin tonight with the latest out of downtown Los Angeles, where a curfew is now in effect. LA Mayor Karen Bass declared a local emergency earlier today, following hundreds of arrests over the past 4 days.
Nearly 200 arrests just today. She says there's been chaos, graffiti is everywhere, and there is significant damage to businesses and properties.
But clearly, after the violence that took place last night, 23 businesses looted, and just the extensive, widespread nature of the vandalism, we reached a tipping point and declared a state of emergency and called for the curfew.
Bass insisted it was important to put things into perspective. The curfew only applies to a 1 square mile area downtown. The city of Los Angeles covers 502 square miles. So again, just a small portion of it. She says, contrary to the narrative that's coming from the White House, this is not a citywide crisis. We're going to take a live look at downtown Los Angeles again. A much different picture than what we've been seeing over the last couple of days, as we saw again groups of people walking through the streets. You saw the officers there. There we go. We're waiting for that shot to come up there. Clearly not the picture tonight.
No, again, you can see the difference that curfew has made for tonight compared to the video we brought you from last night and earlier. So
Mayor Bass making it clear to people today that if you do not have permission to be downtown, if you are not living downtown, if you are not a member of the media, or she actually did say this, if you are homeless, you are allowed to be down there. But if they find that you're down there just to be marching around, they said they will be taking you into custody. And clearly a lot of people listening to that warning tonight, although there have been a few folks here and there, small sprinkles of people here and there that were still marching tonight. But for the most part, a much different picture than we've been seeing for the last couple of days. Indeed.
And new tonight, a federal judge has denied California's request for an emergency order to block the Trump administration from using the state's National Guard for immigration enforcement. The judge set a hearing for Thursday afternoon so both sides could present their arguments. Lawyers for the state want to prevent troops from accompanying federal agents on immigration raids. In the lawsuit, the attorneys said that they are not seeking to block the National Guard from protecting federal buildings. But the lawsuit comes a day after Governor Newsom sued President Trump and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth. That lawsuit was over the administration's decision to mobilize the National Guard to LA to help in the federal response to immigration protests. And speaking of the governor tonight, he said that President Trump is, quote, pulling a military dragnet across Los Angeles in a speech that was meant for clearly more than just Californians.
But clearly, after the violence that took place last
is about you. California may be first, but it clearly will not end here. Other states are next. Democracy is next. Democracy is under assault before our eyes. This moment we have feared has arrived.
The governor went on to say that President Trump inflamed a combustible situation by calling up 4,000 National Guard troops and 700 Marines. He says the administration's actions go far beyond the intent, which had been to go after violent and serious criminals. It's now extended to dishwashers, gardeners, day laborers, and seamstresses. During a speech to the U.S. Army at Fort Bragg, President Trump slammed the protests and illegal immigration at large in California.
Generations of Army heroes did not shed their blood on distant shores only to watch our country be destroyed by invasion and third world lawlessness here at home like is happening in California. As Commander-in-Chief, I will not let that happen. It's never going to happen.
President Trump says someone is financing the ICE protests, an issue we'll be diving into in about 10 minutes. He also talked about those burning the American flag, saying it should be against the law.
People that burn the American flag should go to jail for 1 year. That's what they should be doing. 1 year. And we'll see if we can get that done. We're going to try and get that done. We're working with some of your senators.
The Supreme Court deemed that act protected speech under the First Amendment to the U.S. Constitution back in 1989.
National correspondent Matt Gelka now continues our coverage from Washington, D.C. with reaction from Trump administration officials over what is happening in Los Angeles.
The Trump administration doubled the number of National Guard troops deployed to Los Angeles, with 4,000 troops in and around the area after protests over ICE enforcement have led to violent outbursts. 700 active duty Marines also arrived Tuesday.
If we didn't send out the National Guard, and last time we gave them a little additional help, you would have Los Angeles would be burning right now.
California Governor Gavin Newsom continued to denounce sending the military into the city, filing an emergency motion to block the Marines' deployment. The National Guard has been protecting a federal complex in L.A. where some immigrants are being held after ICE raids around the city.
You asked about the situation in Los Angeles, and we believe ICE agents should be allowed to be safe in doing their operations, and we have deployed National Guard and the Marines to protect them in the execution of their duties.
It will cost $134 million for the Guard and Marine deployment in L.A. Use of force on American citizens could be an option if Trump opts to invoke the Insurrection Act.
If there's an insurrection, I would certainly invoke it. We'll see.
Senate Democrat John Fetterman called on his party to denounce the violence more forcefully, writing in part, "This is anarchy and true chaos. My party loses the moral high ground when we refuse to condemn setting cars on fire, destroying buildings, and assaulting law enforcement." The GOP has targeted Democrats for downplaying the violence and alleging California leadership enabled the protests.
I'm not going to give you legal analysis on whether Gavin Newsom should be arrested, but he ought to be tarred and feathered, I'll say that.
California officials have maintained local law enforcement can handle the situation without bringing in troops.
The president has been engaged in an unlawful power grab. He has tried to seize authority he does not have.
The National Guard will stay in L.A. for 60 days, according to the memorandum that the president signed deploying them, with Trump saying Tuesday they would remain there until there is no danger. Reporting in Washington, I'm Matt Gelka.
And now for a national question of the day. We'd like to know, do you approve of President Trump's deportation policies? Yes or no? Chime in with your answer on our website. All you have to do, as always, is search KMPH.com or scan that QR code right there on your screen.
Well, a pro-Trump Hispanic man was attacked by a protester yesterday as soon as he showed up at the anti-ICE rally that was held in downtown Fresno.
Fox 26 News reporter Myra Franco shares why he says he felt the need to attend. He recorded the entire incident, right, Myra?
Yeah, that's right. Jeremiah Aranda tells us he wanted to exercise his right to stand up for what he believes in, but instead he ended up leaving with bruises. All of that was caught on camera, so let's take a look at what happened.
Jeremiah Aranda of Fresno posted this video on TikTok, capturing the moments as he made his way from a nearby parking lot to the anti-ICE rally in downtown Fresno Monday.
You gotta always go what you believe in, man. Follow your beliefs. Finna run into this whole crowd. I didn't see not one of them with me. You know, I'm suited and booted, ready for action, ready for war. Let's do it.
In the video, you see he walks up to the crowd who have different beliefs than his, lifting up his sign into the air. Then this happens.
What you want to do? What you want to do? What's up? What you want to do? What you want to do? What's up? What you want to do? Get the f out of here. I got it on me. I got it on me. Y'all better back the f up. Exactly.
Aranda sat down to talk with us about what motivated him to attend the rally.
My main intent, honestly, was to be a voice for my side. Honestly, I went into it thinking that there were going to be at least a few of people on my side that I could band together. I honestly, genuinely thought that. And I mean, shortly found out real early in the video that I was the only one in the city, probably, that supported Trump that was actually there.
He says even though he was alone, he was determined to make his stance heard.
I knew it wasn't going to get out of hand on my end, but I just wanted them to show their true colors, pretty much. I mean, it showed. You know, I was hoping, honestly, that it wouldn't get to this.
The chaos erupted just seconds after he drew near to the crowd.
And I had a right to stand next to them, too, and voice my opinion. I didn't even get to voice my opinion.
But he says what happened to him was not a surprise. He says he expected the reaction and was willing to put himself out there for the first time ever.
I literally held the sign up. I was walking across the street there saying, "F you, Trump is not for you." And I literally didn't say nothing. I was probably smiling. I wasn't flipping them off like they were doing to me.
Aranda says he did press charges on the woman who assaulted him. A battery report was taken by Fresno police. Officers say the female suspect left the area and has not been identified yet. Aranda says he stood around after the assault to speak with officers and to the organizers of the protest. He then says that he was advised not to stay so it wouldn't cause any more chaos in the area, so he decided to leave. Liz Monty sending it back to you in the studio.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Thank you, Myra. Aranda says with the video blowing up on TikTok, he hopes someone recognizes her and they come forward.
Mother Nature